Welcome to the video, everyone. Before we start, a big shout out to our sponsors for today. Foco. If you don't know what Foco is, this is what Foco is. This is what Foco is.
That is what Foco is behind his head as well.
Click the link. Check out Foco. If you use the code cftvyt, 15, you get a 15% discount. They've got some really good stuff. Lots of funky gear. Very nice. Little Hawaiian shirt.
Love it.
Check it out. Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're doing very, very well. Apologies for the background. I am in the process of moving into a new place, and this is not my place. I'm actually around my girlfriend's house, and I've had to move everything from my place to her place to then move into the new place because my landlord wouldn't give me an extra couple of hours. So it's been a bit stressful, if I'm honest, but look, it's all good. It's all good. I just wanted to jump on a quick video and just talk about Chelsea. And I was at the game. I was at the Bournemouth game, and there's so many talking points for me. And I think that I didn't even get to do a fan cam at the end of it because it was 8 o'clock. It was a late game, and to be honest, I understand people want to go home. They don't really want to hang about, and I had a lift as well, so I didn't want to take the piss. So look, I just want to give my thoughts on the situation at the moment as a whole. Chelsea. I know there's a lot of conflicting reports around the ownership as well. Just so many different things going on. There is never any shortage of conversation around this club, which is nice because I guess I don't really have to think too much about what to record. But at the same time, there is an element that I would just like to have less drama at Chelsea and more stability. And I think bit by bit we were getting there. And now what's happening outside with the ownership, with the board, it's a bit of a killer in that sense. But let's talk about what we can see on the pitch, and let's talk about some of the players we've brought in as well, and where we think we're actually going this season. Because my prediction originally was 5th. That's where I thought Chelsea would finish. And I stand by that. I do stand by that based on what I've seen so far. I think we made a great amount of progress against Bournemouth, getting that 1-0, getting the clean sheet, finding a way to win even if we're not playing our best. But we did not make life easy for ourselves. And to relate to, for those of you who watched the Arsenal versus Spurs game, Arsenal didn't shoot themselves in the foot. They didn't make things happen consistently. You know, it wasn't like they were dominating the pitch all over. They were sitting back. They were happy to soak up the pressure, and they got the job done. And it seems like Chelsea did that against Bournemouth, but we rode our luck as well. And that is where I look at this team and I think, you're not going to be able to do that every week. So for me, that is an area we need to improve. Defensively still, not good enough. Not good enough for me. And part of that is injuries. I suppose we can look at the right-hand side. Gusto out, Reece James out. I hope they're going to be back and available very, very soon. Disasi he's not comfortable in that right-back position. He's not comfortable there at all. By far the worst player on the pitch. And to be honest with you, he's not good enough when he's a centre-back. So for me, I don't understand why he's the player that's been shifted out to the right when there's probably other players that are more capable than him, because you get no support on the wing if you've got Disasi behind you. You don't get any support in the midfield because he's not going to invert. He's not good enough to do that. And to be honest with you, it's just, every time he closed the player down, it wasn't confident enough. There was space in behind. He lacks pace. I don't even think he's that powerful for such a big player. I feel like he gets out-muscled half the time. So, yeah, I don't see a place for Disasi in this team. I really don't. If it's as a rotation player in the Conference League, so be it. I can live with that. But it's not going to be as a right back. It will be as a centre back. And that also brings me to another player, Wesley Fofana, who I just don't see it. I don't see what people are seeing. We paid £80 million for this guy, and you're telling me that he's good enough for Chelsea right now and that he's been good enough. No, it's not true. It's blatantly not true. We look at injuries, right? And you Reece James, players like that, and they come back into the fold, and you instantly know what you've missed. I don't feel that with Fofana. I really don't. He was one of the reasons we conceded the penalty. I mean, when I was there live, I thought that he, because I didn't actually see it entirely, but someone said to me he gave away the penalty. It turns out that's not the case. It was a bad pass from Fofana that led to Sanchez giving away the penalty afterwards. But I just don't see it with Fofana. And I want to see a partnership build. But I don't see why it can't be Tosin and Levi Colwill. For me, that is our strongest pair at the back. Tosin, look, he's not played at Real Madrid. He's not been a world beater before, but he was a solid player at Fulham and he was consistent as well. And I think that that's what we need right now. We need a player who you know what you're going to get. And I don't know what I'm going to get from Wesley Fofana. I also don't know if he can stay fit for a whole season, which is another reason I question him. But Levi Colwill, for me, I think he's fantastic. He makes progressive passes up the pitch. I love the fact that he passes the ball quickly, majority of the time. He seems to be one of the centre-backs that's looking forward, trying to make things happen, which Fofana does as well. I'll give him that. He certainly drives the ball up, but just not a player that I look at and I say, I feel like I can count on you. I just don't feel it with Fofana. Maybe some of you agree, maybe you disagree as well, but that's where I am right now. And then you've got Cucurella as well on the left. I see him as a fantastic player in this side. He was always going to start ahead of Ben Chilwell anyway, even if Chilwell, wasn't frozen out of the squad. It just suits what we're doing. Cucurella he's got to be one of the best left-backs in world football. I'm trying to think of better left-backs. For what you want a left-back to do in this system, I'm trying to think of anyone. You look at Alphonso Davies, players like that. But Cucurella has everything. Absolutely everything. And even one thing I thought he couldn't do, based on what we saw in previous seasons, was actually overlapping, getting involved, whipping crosses in, really getting involved in the final third. Which is something I didn't think Cucurella was really capable of doing, because even when he was playing well under Pochettino, he was a midfielder, right? He was inverting into that area. He wasn't up the top end of the pitch. So I love what we're doing with Cucurella, and I think he's fantastic, and I hope that we renew his contract as well. I really do, because what did he sign, a 5-year deal? So he's already into his 3rd year. If I'm upstairs, I'm trying to get him to sign a new deal ASAP. But then the whole wage structure, everything comes into it. He is one of our bigger earners, and he was given a contract by Bowley, so it is larger than a lot of other players. He's making more than Cole Palmer, for example. So I don't know, man. I want to see Cucurella get a contract extension. I think that he's going to be an integral part of what we're doing in this system, and very difficult to replace as well. I don't look at a player and think, you're capable of doing what Cucurella can do. Robert Sanchez, for me, justified the faith that Enzo Maresca has put in him during the Bournemouth game. World-class goalkeeping, fantastic penalty save. It wasn't your average save. He was fully stretched when he got that ball. And I know Cole Palmer was giving it the big one to the Bournemouth striker before. Maybe he got in his head, but listen, the keeper's got to do the right thing anyway, and Sanchez did it. So fantastic moment for him. If it wasn't for that save, we don't know if we win, lose or draw that game. We'd probably drop points, let's be honest. So yeah, massive shout out to Robert Sanchez. I saw pretty good composure, to be honest with you, from him. And I also think that Maresca is playing his cards very well. He's not looking at the players and asking them to do one thing and one thing only, which is what we thought he was going to be doing. When Maurizio Sarri came in, for example, it was short every time. Every goal kick was short. It was stringent every single time. And we've seen this with managers in the past, where they're just so insistent on playing the way they want to play. And they can't adapt for anything because their structure, their philosophy is, that's it. Which is strange, really, because we thought Maresca was going to be like that. And he almost speaks like that's the only way we're going to play, is out from the back all the time. But it's not been like that. We play direct. We're happy to chip the ball up the pitch, go diagonal when we can. And I like the style that Maresca's trying to implement. And I like the fact that we're flexible. I think that's going to be a massive key to getting results, especially in games like Bournemouth away, where we've struggled in the past. And we've managed to get a result there now. I don't think that we necessarily started the game off well, but the changes are certainly making a big difference. And I think if you look at what Pochettino did in past seasons, I don't see Pochettino making the same changes that Maresca made, and Maresca deserves credit for that. So fair play to him. I do still think that we need a striker. I think it's very clear to see that Nicholas Jackson, he can't finish. He cannot finish the way we need him to finish in these type of games. He puts himself in the positions. And if you look at the chances he's going to create for himself in terms of getting into the right positions, etc., it's fantastic, right? It's absolutely brilliant. And you don't really have to coach him too much more in that sense. But then it's about the final ball. It's about just coping under the pressure, which I don't necessarily think is the issue. I think it's just quality of finishing, right? His shot quality it's not up there with the best strikers. When I see Nicholas Jackson warming up his shots, and if I compared it to, let's just say, Cole Palmer, right, who's a natural finisher, it's worlds apart, and you can see that. So I think that we still need to look in the market in January for another striker, even if Jackson continues scoring goals, and his record hasn't been bad, right, this season. He's had a good start. I think he needs a bit of support up there. I don't think he can do it all on his own, and I think that we need a player to potentially come on and make an impact like Nkunku did, but as a direct striker replacement, because really Nkunku is more of a 10. But I think he's going to be playing as a striker in future games, because that seems to be where he fits best into this system. He's not going to play ahead of Cole Palmer. We want to fit other wingers into play, because Madueke didn't have the best game against Bournemouth, but he has been good. I think it's 5 GA in 6 games now. I mean, that's very good. And then you've got Sancho making an impact. Mudryk will be looking for minutes. You've got other players. Neto as well. So you can't push Nkunku out wide like we've done before. I think that just doesn't work. It didn't work. He is best centrally. He's very direct, and he just knows how to finish as well. So you almost argue maybe Nkunku needs to start ahead of Jackson in that sense. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, do you think that Nkunku should be starting as a striker if there's no other place for him? I mean, you've got to fit him in somewhere. He is one of our best players, and we haven't really been given the opportunity to see that because of the lack of game time, both with the injuries he's had and obviously Maresca trying to fit him into the system as well. Jadon Sancho, for me, is perfectly suited to this system. I said that Neto was worlds ahead of Mudryk. I think Sancho is a very different player to Neto, so it's hard to say they're worlds apart, but he just fits everything you want from a winger in that position. The only thing Sancho doesn't have is pace, but he makes up for that with his technique. He's so technically gifted. He's going to link up with the likes of Palmer and Nkunku, all of these guys, and their chemistry is going to be fantastic. He's got a great football IQ. So there's going to be games where you look at Jadon Sancho and you say, bloody hell, like he's not running enough, something. But then that bit of quality, that end product that you just can't get from certain wingers, just players. He's got such natural talent and ability, but it's there. This is ready-made. It's not potential. This is already there. And that's where Jadon Sancho is an upgrade on what we've had. I think Felix was an upgrade on what we had as well. I mean, if you was to compare him to Mudryk and Sterling, who we had before. But I don't look at Felix and think, oh, he's going to be the guy who wins us football matches every week. I don't see that. But I do think that Jadon Sancho can be integral to what we're trying to build. And I think as well, if the Chelsea fans are anything like they were against Bournemouth, we are going to have a fantastic time. And we need that in the home matches as well, not just the away games. Because even when we weren't necessarily having shots on goal, the fans were just going nuts. And I couldn't fit half of it into the vlog, otherwise you would have just been watching chants. But that was exactly what I wanted to see from the away fans. But also, I think that the reason the fans were backing the team so much is because we were trying to do something and we were consistent and we were improving. From where we were in the first half to where we finished in the second half, two different teams, and the changes certainly made the difference. But the fans made the difference as well, and I think that gives the players a boost. It gives them just a breath of fresh air compared to what they deal with at Stamford Bridge, where if a player gives the ball away, you hear groans, you hear fans going, "You're fucking shit." That's not very encouraging. So, fantastic away support. Big up to all the Chelsea fans. And I think we just need to continue that. That's it. And we needed more quality, and I think we have it, but we still need more. That's the reality. Last season was all about building the foundation so these players have the confidence to know that they can go out and play. This season is about implementing a system that even if you're confident, you still need to learn to play a certain way. Are you good enough to do that is the question then. The answer is yes for a lot of these players, but no for some. And that is if you're looking at from a week in, week out standpoint. Can we perform every week? I don't think we can. But I think that 7 times out of 10 will win football matches. Is that enough to get a European push? Yes, but I don't see it being a Champions League push as of yet. Maybe I'm wrong. If we can become a more solid team defensively, we will get Champions League football without a doubt. But I think that's the one thing that's holding us back. We got rid of Chalobah. I'm not really 100% sure how I feel about Fofana. That right-hand side is vulnerable with the injuries. Hopefully Gusto and James come back soon and they stay fit, but you never know what's going to happen there. And then the goalkeeping situation still needs a lot of clarity, because one week Sanchez is good, the next week we're criticising him. Let's have a few weeks on the bounce where we're looking at Robert Sanchez and saying, wow, you're actually keeping us in these games. And if we can say that more than once, then fantastic. And then we look at the defence more, because we go, hang on a sec, you shouldn't be conceding these chances for the keeper to have to make these saves. But right now, I think there's question marks in those two areas, as well as up front, where we deserve that little bit more quality if we're going to finish at the top end of the table. I do think Jackson's going to get us 15 goals, maybe even 20. But I don't think that he's the player that you sub on when you want to win a game. I think that it's either his day or it's not. And against Bournemouth, it wasn't. But we'll see if Maresca persists with him, or if he goes down the route of starting Nkunku against West Ham. Personally, I think Nkunku would be a good option because West Ham are very open. But who knows? But let me know what you guys think. I mean, where do you stand on the team at the moment? Are you confident? Are you not confident? And let me know, guys.